In this technology, he was talking about the larger metropolitan areas. A lot of this technology might help bridge the gap.
Yeah. So there are some very interesting things that can happen. And so I was leading up to the fact that the community projects is the model that we're using with the Ubuntu movement, and the critical thing with the Ubuntu party. It's become very obvious to me that unless you give this philosophy of unifying people and creating a new system of abundance, a new social structure, you have to support that on a political level. And because right now our lives are being controlled and destroyed by politics. And people say, oh, Tellinger, you're selling out, you're going into politics, you're becoming just like them. No, we're going into politics because we want to turn this disgusting, dishonorable, crooked, filthy part of our lives that's destroying our lives. We need to change it. By sitting on the sideline and ignoring politics is not going to do anything. It's not a solution. So what do? We have to do something about it. So we create a political party that actually says something completely different. We're going to decentralize government. We're going to shut down the Federal Reserve System and create a people's bank as an interim that issues money for the people, tax-free and interest-free. So there's no taxes, no inflation, none of that. So it actually starts serving the people to put into place in the interim phase all the community projects and the public works that we need, so that you can release the people from their prisons in the metropolitan areas and they can go back to their little towns and villages, because now they know they're going to find something to do because the money is provided for by the People's Bank. That's just an interim phase.
Doesn't it seem like things are already kind of leading this way? Look at the number of people who will make their own YouTube videos. They know they're never going to make money on it. They'll write articles. They know they're never going to make money on it. They're writing software that's free. And why are they doing it? Because they want to be seen as socially valuable. They want to have a social status. So do you think that this social competition or social collaboration is going to be part of it?
Absolutely. It's really what you just said there, David, is critical. It's when you start working in your community, and again, we're still leading up to the practical steps, so I think it's critical that we get there. But when you wake up in the morning, and you know, as Corey said, everything you need is provided for. Why? Because that's what we do as a community. There's too much food, too much technology, too much fabric, too much anything. Everything is available in abundance. All you have to do is contribute a few hours a week towards the community projects, and the rest of the time is yours. How that will evolve, I don't know yet, but the communities will decide how that's going to evolve. But what it results in that most of the time you have in the week is your own, and you can then express your own talents, whether you're a painter or a sculptor or a musician or a horse breeder or an engineer or a scientist. It doesn't matter what you do. You've got the absolute ability to do
things that make you happy?
Things that make you happy.
Wow.
Exactly.
What a world.
When you wake up in the morning with a smile on your face, because you know you don't have to get up, get dressed in a suit and a tie, and sit on a train or a bus or ride a bicycle in the rain or the cold or the wind, to go to a stinking job that you earn a few lousy dollars every month to pay off your mortgage, to pay the electricity, the milk, the bread, for your children's education so they can be enslaved in the same system, and then you start the thing over again next month.
And as Graham Hancock would say, keep your brain pickled with alcohol so that you can keep doing it.
Exactly. So now you don't have to do this. So you choose which community you live in. You don't have to, you're not forced to do anything you want. You get everything for free because you contribute a few hours a week towards one of the community projects. And that collectively makes us a very powerful labor force. I use that as a word, although that will fall off, off the edge very soon. But very, very quickly, overnight, your community becomes a powerful labor force that no corporation, no municipality, no government can compete with. And now I've actually given you the steps. How we go from here, from today, into a community that is living in abundance and creating all this abundance for itself.
What if some guy goes around raping women at knife point? What are you going to do with him?
Well, that's one of the frequently asked questions. So thank you for bringing it up. And what I find interesting, just on that subject, is that the questions that people have been coming up with over the last 11 years shows me how equally wired we are, right? How the current system has wired us to think equally about the problems and coming up with the same problems, the same hurdles. It's beautiful. So now we know what problems to solve.
Right.
But the good thing about this is, remember, part of the whole model, the Ubuntu model, is to move away from a centralized government. Communities govern themselves. So I don't know what my community or the community that I'm going to be in. The community will decide. They'll set up a new legal system, guidelines as to the behavior, starting with the basic, the common law system. Do not kill, do not steal, and conduct yourself honorably.
So you're not talking about like a centralized government ideological system in that aspect, different regions that have their own moral compasses and
in many ways going back to like the city-states, right? Yeah. Where every community has its own set of rules and guidelines. And there's a lot to discuss, obviously, but in the Ubuntu model, we go back to the tribal council, where the people of the community elect. And it's an open election. Everyone knows that I voted for David Wilcock to be on the Council of Elders. Yeah. And if David Wilcock...
Maybe our elders will become respected again.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. This is why they sideline our elders and they put them in old age homes, and we try and get rid of our elders, because by the time...
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. And you don't use the wisdom anymore. And so the community will elect its own Council of Elders that will then be the guides for the community, and they'll decide daily and hourly and minute by minute what is best for the community, not what's best for me. Although what I do is I call this a minority-run system, not a majority-run system, and this freaks some people out. They go, "What do you mean?" Like, because we're so poisoned by democracy and majority rule, right? So this is a minority rule system. How can you say that? It's because there are far more minorities than there are majorities. Okay? There are an infinite number of minorities. There are those that look after butterflies, and those that care about peach trees and the soil and the clouds and whatever. People that make sure that the genetically modified stuff doesn't enter our food, and there's so many different minorities. And in a contributionism system, every minority will be taken care of. Every minority will get all the tools, all the technology, all the support, all the labs, all the research, everything you need to do what you're supposed to be doing for your community. That's why you can call this a minority-driven system and not a majority-driven system, where 51 people tell the 49 people that they can't have it their way.
So the cesspool gets clogged up, right? The sewers are clogged. Nobody wants to go into the sewer. What do you do then?
Great. I love it. It's just beautiful. But it's just one of the frequently asked questions. It's beautiful. Who's going to shovel the crap? Right? And the answer to that is, normally when I do the workshops and I bring up this as a question, guess what happens? There are always 2 or 3 people that put up their hands. I'll shovel the crap. So we already have our answer. But it goes a lot further than that. Remember, we're no longer doing this for money. We're doing this for our community, which means we're doing it for ourselves. I don't want to have my sewer clogged. So if the sewer is clogged in my community, it means that my sewer is clogged, because it's my community.
Right.
Right. So whoever is on duty for that week to look after the sewers will go and unclog the sewers. So let's get back to what the community projects are all about.
And there's people that specialize in all these different types of things that can pool all their resources together.
Correct. So this is we also recognize the diversity in our humanness and our community, but the unity within the diversity, right? And the diversity within the unity. There are as many skills and talents and wishes and wants of people that people have as there are people. Each and every one is completely unique. Each and every one of us is completely unique. And each and
equally as important.
Exactly. Every one of those trillions of cells in your body plays a critical role in the makeup of your body. And it's what I keep reminding people. Don't think that because you think you're nobody and you're insignificant, and that's what people do. Oh, I'm nobody, I'm insignificant. No, you're not. In a Ubuntu or a contributionism system or contributionist community, you are a critical part of your community. Everyone plays an equally critical part in the community. Doesn't matter if you're the local doctor or the scientist or the engineer or baker, everyone's role is equally critically important.